Good morning, mathematicians. This is Mrs. Capizzi, and our lesson for day 5 is 14-3, Patterns and Repeating Shapes. So I can use a rule to predict a number or shape in a pattern. So let's get started with the Sob and Share. And it says the rule for the repeating pattern below is square triangle. What will be the 37th shape in the pattern? Explain. Solve this problem any way you choose. So what I want you to do is go ahead and pause the video, solve the Solve and Share, and when you have your answer, go ahead and press play and we will go over it. Okay, welcome back everyone. So there's a couple different ways that you might have attempted to solve this problem. One way I'm going to show you here is you could have actually just drawn out the pattern. So you can see here I did square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. So on each row it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I made 6 rows of 6. So I know 6 times 6 is 36. So this triangle here is my 36th shape, so that my 37th shape would be right here. The 37th shape is a square. So you might have done that. And I do want to go over another way that you could have thought about the problem, or maybe some of you did. So let's take a look at, if you look at the squares are first, third, fifth. So those are all odd numbers. And the triangles are second, fourth, and sixth, which are all even numbers. So I could have thought about this. The squares have odd numbers and the triangles have even numbers. So since 37 is an odd number, the 37th shape will be a square. So one of the features you can look for is where the shape they're asking for. Is it an odd shape? Is it an even shape, etc.? So now let's take a look at the look back, and it says after the 37th shape is placed, how many triangles, how many triangles are in the pattern? So if I look here, I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 3 columns of 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. So there are 18 triangles in the pattern after the 37th shape is placed. So we are working with the students on restating the question and writing sentences. So make sure, guys, when you are doing your math work if it asks you a question that you're restating it in your answer. So let's go ahead and turn the page, and let's look at the essential question. So the essential question is, how can you use a repeating pattern to predict a shape? So here, in the bubble, a repeating pattern is made up of shapes or numbers that form a part that repeats. So if I look here, so Rashad is making a repeating pattern for the rule triangle, square, trapezoid. What will be the 49th shape in the pattern? So here I can see that the pattern itself is made up of 3 shapes that continuously repeat. So here, look for features of the repeating pattern. So the trapezoid is the 3rd, 6th, and 9th shape in the pattern, and all of the trapezoids are multiples of 3. So meaning if I kept skip counting by 3s, 3, 6, 9, the next trapezoid would be a 12. And here the triangles are the 1st, 4th, and 7th shape in the pattern, and the positions of the triangles are 1 more than a multiple of 3. So the square is in the 2nd, 5th, and 8th shape in the pattern, and the position of the squares are 1 less than a multiple of 3. So how can we decipher that information? Here's where division can be super handy. So use the repeating pattern to solve. So when you divide 49 by 3, so we're dividing by 3 because there's 3 shapes in the pattern. The pattern repeats 16 times. So here they wanted the 49th shape. So that's why we're taking 49 and dividing by 3. So 4 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then I would bring down the 9. And 19 divided by 3, the closest I can get is 6 times. And 6 times 3 is 18. 19 minus 18 is 1, which becomes my remainder. So here you can see that we divided by 3 because there are 3 items in the repeating pattern. So 49 is 1 more than the multiple of 3, meaning that if we made this pattern exactly 16 times, that would be 48. But this is 1 more than that, so that would be 49. So meaning whatever this remainder is going to be, so if my remainder is 1, it's going to be the first, it will be the triangle here because that is a 1. And then also, once I divide by 3, 1 left over would be 1 more than that, which would be a triangle as well. So let's take a look at the convince me. Suppose the rule is square, triangle, square, trapezoid in the repeating pattern. What is the 26th shape in the pattern? Describe features of the repeating pattern and be precise in your description. So when I'm looking at this here, I can see that there's 4 shapes in my repeating pattern. And the square is the 1st and the 3rd, and it's also odd. So 1 and 3, that position is odd. And the triangle is the 2nd, and the trapezoid would be the 4th position. So if I take 26 because that's how many shapes. Now you certainly could go ahead and draw out 26 using this repeating pattern, but you can see once you get to bigger numbers, it can be a lot of work. So let's take a look at how we can use division to help shorten that process. So 26 divided by 4, the closest that I can get is 6. 6 times 4 is 24, and 26 minus 24 is 2. So I can see that my remainder here is 2. So if I look at the second shape, 1, 2, I can see then that the 26 shape would be a triangle. So the remainder here is really a clue for you of how far you have to go into the pattern to find what that position is, what the 26 position is. So the 26 shape in the pattern is a triangle. And let's go ahead and look at up here. Here's another example. So a repeating pattern can be made up of shapes or numbers. So here you can see that they made the pattern of numbers, and it said write the next 3 numbers in the repeating pattern, then name the 100th number in the pattern. So you can see the rule here is 1, 3, 5, 7, and that just keeps repeating. 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. So they want to know the 100th number. So if you take 100 and divide that by 4, because there's 4 numbers in the repeating pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see that it would repeat exactly 25 times. So there is no remainder. There's no remainder here. So that means that the last number that was written was a 7. So here you can see there's 4 items in the repeating pattern. So that's why we're dividing by 4. To find the 100th number, you divide by 4, and the pattern repeats 25 times. So meaning if I repeat this exactly 25 times, the last number I'm going to be writing is a 7, which would be my 100th number. Okay, so what I want you to do is pause the video and try numbers 1, 2, and 3 in the guided practice. And then when you're all done, you can start the video again and check your work. Okay, welcome back. Number 1, in the triangle, square, trapezoid example on the previous page, what will be the 48th shape? The 50th shape? Explain. So here, triangle, square, trapezoid, that repeats 3 in 1, 2, 3. There's 3 shapes in each pattern. So for here, if I take 48 and I divide by 3, 4 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down the 8, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So here I can see there's no remainder, which means that if I repeated this exactly 16 times, I would have 48 shapes. So I can see that the last shape here would be, so it's triangle, square, trapezoid. And if I wrote that if I kept repeating this and I wrote this out 16 times, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. You can see I would end on a trapezoid. So here, the 48th shape is a trapezoid. And if I need the 50th shape, I know if I just finished at a trapezoid, I can go 2 more, because to go from 48 to 50 is 2. 1, 2, I can see that the 50th shape is a square. And here, what is the 20th shape? The rule is triangle, circle, circle. So I know that there's 3 shapes here. So 20 divided by 3, if I repeat, so it goes in 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18, and 20 minus 18 is 2. So my remainder here is 2. So meaning if I repeated this pattern 6 times, then I would have to go 2 more, 1, 2, and I would be at a circle. So the 20th shape would be a circle. And let's take a look at number 3. Write the next 3 numbers. The rule is 9, 2, 7, 6. So I can see there's 4 numbers. 9, 2, 7, 6, 9, 2, 7, 6. So my next 3 numbers would be 9, 2, and 7. So I want you to try the independent practice, and you're going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on the front. And then if you turn it over, you'll do 17 and 18. And your clue here is that there's 3 choices for this multi-answer, and for here, number 18, there are 2 choices. So when you're first doing these, you might want to get an extra piece of paper and actually continue to draw the pattern out to help you see it. And once you have that done, then try solving it with division and looking at the remainder, and that will help you visually see where in the pattern you are. So remember to email or dojo your teachers with any questions that you may have. Have a wonderful and happy Friday, and we miss you and hope that you're doing well. Have a great day.